I want to ask you about your 3 top interviews. I know one already because you brought that up multiple times. We're talking about the Buju interview that just dropped probably 2 months ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into that one there.
All right, so the Buju interview. Why it's a top interview for me? It marks for me my rise. I wouldn't have got that unless the work that I put in.
Got you.
And it's not a win just for me. It's a win for this team here, Brookout. Because as I said, my producer, my manager used to be one of the management team up at One Extra, and then he left about 12, 13 years ago.
Okay.
And then he started up his company called PMG, and then he started to manage me. And then we started our company called Brookout, and that's where the Brookout team comes in.
Got you.
That piece of work was produced by my manager for PMG.
Okay.
And it wasn't, he never produced it because it's me and I get to talk. Nah, it's on merit. So with the Buju stuff, what a lot of people don't realize is that I went to Jamaica last year for the Buju show.
Yeah.
And everything that I did in Jamaica last year for the Buju show, the interviews that you see backstage and whatever, BBC had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
BBC did not send me to Jamaica. I had just come back from Jamaica in February. I went back down in March.
Yeah.
Flights were expensive. Hotels were expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the first I ever call up a hotel and say, yo, Seani B, try to take it. But I'll tell you like, because everywhere I did book out, like grands we spent to go down there. And the reason why we went down there is because we thought it was important for black media to have a control over what is said and done regarding Buju and how it's presented, especially in the UK.
Yes.
Because you would have many different publications that are going to write and say, he did when he was 19. He went to jail, this, that, the other. And we know that. But Muscle, how much of your brethren do you know that did all kind of fuckery and did young anyway?
And they're big people now.
And they're big people now. But you have to get over that sometimes. But you know that these people are going to start off with that. We ain't going to start off with that when we do our piece.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to show balance, but we're not going to just talk about that because we, as Brookout and Seani B, want to add fair editorial when it comes to our music. And too many times it's written, because I also write for the Voice column in the UK as well.
Okay.
And which is important. And I'm not the greatest writer in the world, but I'm do my thing. Because it's important that we document this thing on so many different levels. Because some people won't watch, they only read.
True.
So how are you going to connect with those people? And if the person that's writing those columns is biased, not quite understanding, I know a lot of it is to do is understanding. When you come from a culture like ours, you know, we are a certain way because of certain things.
And that's just what it is.
Point blank. None of it, like Muscle, as black people, you know, none of us is better than the next man, you know.
No way.
No way. Because you know what? We all come from the same frigging struggle. Your ancestors then would have to go the same shit that my ancestors went through. 100%. And somewhere along the lines, that comes out in our fucking DNA, bro.
And that's why if we were to sit down and say, as kids, this is what happened in my household, okay? And you turn around and say, what happened in your household? You know, it would be the exact same thing.
Right. And that's why
exact same thing.
But that rhetoric, those words never ever come out sometimes. And so all that you hear about our culture is heavy bass lines, jerk chicken, gal wine, and this, that, the other rhetoric. There's so much more, brother. You get what I'm saying? Draw the trolley from on Friday night or Saturday morning for your mother when you go shopping. You get them sitting there, dog. All I would do them sitting there, dog. You get what I'm saying? Come on now. Like there's certain things in our culture, and that's why I go so hard. And my manager on a regular basis looks at me and goes, "If you ain't gonna do it, who else is gonna do it?"
True.
If you have got a position, Seani, what are you gonna do with that? So we said we're gonna position ourselves with a Buju thing. And that's why we went to Jamaica, and we did it genuinely out of our heart. And I wanted to bring back that story to people. Eventually, One Extra did jump on it. but they jumped on it when I was in Jamaica.
Got
And real talk, like, you want real talk, muscle, real talk? Certain things I'm not even meant to put up on my site because of contractual agreements. Because BBC, to a certain extent, they hold my intellectual property. But I looked at my manager, I goes, bruv, this is one of the biggest moments in reggae history. I'm literally packing my suitcase. I'm like, hear what it is. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, but don't take it for granted. I'm just gonna bring it back on BBC just like that. Can't work just like that. And I know that you guys invest heavily and everything like that, but it's important that we just don't capture what you want to capture. It's important to capture what the culture needs as well. A rounded view of everything. So boom, we did that, and they backed me and they supported me. So sums up to 1 Extra for that. Broadcasted it on the BBC. And again, that program was fully edited, recorded by us, 2-hour special program, all the rest of it. So now comes Buju. We're at the end of the year, and we know that album is getting prepared for, and we know that no interviews has happened. What's happening? We called a meeting with Rock Nation.
Okay.
Me and my partner called a meeting with Rock Nation. And because we're in with the record companies and all the rest of it, we know 1 or 2 people. So somebody, the president of Island, Darkest Beats, I know him from when I was doing remixes back in the day for Island, and Ali G was on Island.
Okay.
I did a group called Sugar Babes and end up doing mobiles with Sugar Babes. And that was actually Darkest's project. So we got links within the labels, people that I've known over the years.
Relationships, brother.
So boom, we link up with the people them in Miami. We had a meeting with a young lady. I'm not gonna call her name, but they know who they are, and I'm ever grateful for them. And we told her what we wanted to do. We told her what we wanted to do from the heart, to say that it's important for Buju that people like us are involved. Hear what I'm saying to you? I'm little Seani B. There's Ebro. There's Breakfast Club. You have to remember, this is Rock Nation, you know, brother. There's all these people. Remember, Ebro get the interview, you know. Even if you said 1 Extra, there's Rodigan. There's so many contenders that I can get this interview. Who am I? The brother that does freestyles and whatever. Good on you. Well done, surely. Whatever.
But this is a different league there,
This is different league. And I always sat there and thought, nah, I'm not get that. My barber said to me, yeah, get that, you know.
Big up your barber again. I always hear you talk about your barber.
Kirky, big him up. Brother, one day I get a phone call one night. I actually got a message and I got a phone call. Then a jabber called me and he said, the boss want to chat to him. I said, what the boss? But a food cup. I said, bomb for us. And then that's when the conversation was all had and all the rest of it. And they asked us, what is it you want to do? And I go, you know what, speak to my peoples and this, that, the other. But the side of the interview, this is where radio comes into it. Remember now, my manager's a radio man. He says, Seani, what I want you to do is listen to every single Buju Banton album. What? All of them. I don't care if you've heard them before and you think you know them, listen to them. When you're running in the gym, listen to them. When you're driving, listen to them. I want you to be so prepared for this interview. I want you to go and watch Hard Talk, which is some programs on BBC. Like, this man, Ray Paul, like, I can definitely give him all the accolades for the second part of my career. He's like my big brother. Like, he's not my manager. I've never been my boss. If I was shit, I was shit. Just the other day, he told me something was horrible. Cut me to the core, blood.
He's solid. He tells you 100.
I couldn't sleep the night, dog. Before I sleep 5 o'clock, I was like, he said it's horrible. I told him in the morning, like, he said it was horrible. Like, you've never used those words to me before, brother. I'm like, horrible?
Horrible. Not
it was horrible. I was like, rah. But he's like, Seani, I want you prepared. So I was already in Jamaica, you know. When he arrived and I got back to the hotel in the night, they go, excuse me, there's a package here. A4 sheets printed out. Bio, Buju, this, that, the other. Rare. I was like, rah, this brother's on me. But muscle, because I always have faith in him and I trust him when it comes to my radio career. I did the work.
For sure.
And I didn't feel that I needed to do the work, but I did the work. And I think that it comes out in the interview because it's little key things like this. You got to know, but you're going to have to know how to express it and tell it. And you've got to say it confidently. You get what I'm saying? And for me, that was probably one of the most, like, some people asked me if I was nervous. I was like, no, what you're seeing there is focus. What you're seeing there is me changing up my game, slowing down what I do. Because sometimes I get excited, I'm going to start stuttering. No. Slow down what I do. I've got to feel, and Buju came at me. And I've only had an interview like that once before.
Let's talk about that when we're done with. Okay, speak about
it. It was an interview I did with Chuck D from Public Enemy. And because I was a fan, I went in and rare, and he ripped me apart, bruv. But then when he ripped me apart, Flavor was there like, man, leave Shawnee alone, man. And Professor Griff was there. You know what I did? Just rip up the paper and say, well, I know.
Yeah.
We could just do what we're doing.
Yeah.
But that taught me always be thoroughly prepared. So when you've come across Chuck D and he's punched you in your face and you're dizzy, you're like, fucking hell. And I've come back and held it down. Dame Dash, same thing. Dame Dash punched me in my face. I heard Dame Dash and headbutt him back blood.
Once bitten, twice shy. You got the game this time.
When I went to Rockefeller offices, they had me down as a man that beat up Dame Dash. But we'll get to that in a second. So with the Buju thing, when Buju is coming back at me and I'm able to kind of defend myself, and it's not even defend yourself, have a conversation over opinions. So I don't see where some people say, "Why Buju?" No, it's a conversation. And he's giving his opinion and I'm giving my opinion. I want to hear his opinion more than give my opinion because people are interested in Shorty B's opinion than why I hear Buju's opinion. So I just give that stage to him. And I know that I want to chat about certain things and all the rest of it. So it's just, I've got time. What do I do? Have I ever heard Buju really document how he came up and all the rest of it? So to hear him chat about being in the studio at Arrows, and it was fun when I was cutting dubs and all these. I know that these things is priceless to a man like you. You know what I'm saying? That conversation.
That part got me. I said, wow, I've never, ever heard him speak about that. And one thing I know as somebody that does interviews, your job is always to get, even if it's a little thing out of whoever you're speaking to, that they've never revealed before. They've never said it that way. That never came up like, I never thought about. You always want that one bright spark. And that was where you got that bright spark where, all right.
Where I took him back.
Yeah.
And that was this.
Yes.
The only reason why I could talk about that effortlessly is because I've got all of this history behind me. I've got the 7 inches. I bought them. You know what I'm saying? They're here. And that is what somebody else can't do. If you never live that part of this music, like whether it's on a sound system, whether it's in a record shop, whether you was an electronics man, I build preamps or this, that, the other. Like, if you don't know them things there.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.